Hey, we're back for another section of our gardening series. It's been about a month since we originally planted the garden, and the plants have really grown. And about a week ago, I needed to start doing some trellises. So trellises are to help your plants grow upward instead of sprawling out all over the ground and needing more room. So let me bring you into the garden and I'll show you how we built these. The first trellis that we built was for the pole beans and peas. And there's actually cucumbers in there as well as watermelon that eventually will use the trellis. This type of trellis is a very simple trellis. It's called an A-frame trellis. So your first step in building the trellis is just to create an A-frame. You can probably see on the end how I did that. I literally took two tomato stakes and I put them kind of crisscross at the top, and then all I did was tie them together. So this is definitely not a sophisticated trellis, but you know what? It was cheap and it works. So altogether, I made 3 of those different little crisscross sections, and then I put a long pole across the top. At the bottom, I bought some simple bamboo stakes, and they were about 6 feet long, and I put those at the bottom. And then in the middle, I found like a scrap piece of wood that we had in the garage, and I just kind of laid that across the middle so that I could string down in the middle as well. I just started by tying the string here at the top. So I just put the end of the string, put a simple knot, then I ran it down around the edge of the pole, came back up, sort of crisscrossed over, then I kind of went over the other side, and I just kept going back and forth. You might notice in the middle of my peas and beans here that I have some empty spots. I left those on purpose because we're doing something called succession planting. So peas and beans don't take too long, maybe like 45 days from the time that you plant them till the time that you harvest them. They're really easy to get more than one crop out of a year. So I planted one set of them about a month ago, and just last night I came out and planted the other squares that are empty. So you can see the ones that are already growing, and then I have more coming, so I'll have yet a whole another crop of them to do. You might notice here that I also have my cucumbers within this trellis. The cucumbers are really great for trellising and growing up as well. But cucumbers are also great climbers, and they're great when they grow up because they actually don't get the ground spots on the bottom or the yellow spots, so they won't get soggy and wet nearly as much, and you'll be able to see them so that you can pick them when they're ready. My tomatoes were getting pretty large, so probably 2 weeks ago I needed to do something with them to help them grow upwards and support the plants. I just decided that the easiest thing to do this year was to do tomato cages. I have 18 tomato plants altogether, and it just felt like that was going to be the easiest thing to do this year. This is my second trellis that I built. This one I just built this past weekend, so it was just a few days ago. My pumpkins and my zucchini are inside this trellis, and you can see that they're getting pretty large, and they really did need to be trellised. So this one was much needed. This fencing was really nice because if you look closely, it actually has openings and holes in it where I could run the line through, and I could tie it up, so it was really nice and secure. So to do the stringing on this one, I used a lot of those open holes. So I started at one end and I tied a knot, and I ran it all the way around in a horizontal section, totally around, went through in and out all again. Then I started stringing from the top to bottom, but it worked out pretty well. I think this is going to be a good support for the pumpkins as well as the zucchinis. They seem to be doing pretty well in there, and I think they'll continue to grow up. Zucchinis and pumpkins can get pretty heavy as they're growing, so eventually we may have to hammock some of these so that they don't pull themselves right off. With pumpkins and zucchini, if you trellis them, you're not going to get that soft spot on the bottom or the moldy stuff that you might get, or the mushiness, and you're probably not going to get the ground spot that you get either. So trellising is a great way to grow upwards, to save space in your garden, get max produce out of minimal space. Hopefully this will work great. This is my first time trellising, so follow me and we will check it out as it keeps growing. Have a great day.